Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Jonathan Smith, and I am the Director of Sales for TRC Consultants, makers of PHDwin. I'm also the Project Manager for version 2. And so you might have probably seen me before on PHDwin Week, or if you came to the NAPE booth this year, I got to shake your hand. It was great to meet you. Two questions came up at the NAPE booth this year that I want to address directly in this video. First question is that came up, are we still supporting version 2 of the program? And the answer is yes. That's my job. I'm going to ensure that PHDwin version 2 continues to run the best we can on newer versions of Windows. As Microsoft pushes down updates, we're going to keep this going. Now, I want to be clear about it. We're not adding major new features to version 2. We did add some new reports, some new defaults, some quality of life improvements to the newest version, 2.11.1. But most of the features, most of the cool stuff is going into our new SQL version of the program, version 3. But we're still supporting version 2. We'll still answer your questions on the phone about version 2. And we have no set sunset date for version 2. Now, what I do recommend is that you're on the newest version of version 2, the one that I helped release a little bit over a year ago, version 2.11.1. So that's the one I would be using if I was you, if I was in version 2. Previous versions have issues with reporting in modern Microsoft operating systems. That's why we have the 2.11.1. Also, there's only one 2.11. So if you get a 2.11 file from someone, there's no updates currently to 2.11. It will match every other 2.11 file on the planet. In fact, if we need to update the program, I'll just move to a 2.12. So that way we make sure as we move forward with our version 2 support, you know if you're within a certain major version of 2, it will match every other major version of the program. That is our commitment to you as long as you continue to support us as we move into the era of moving from 2 to 3. And then you can go at your own timeline as you move away from version 2 into our new SQL-based product. So that's the first question I had. And yes, we're supporting version 2. The second question people ask me is, does PHDwin work in a cloud? So that's the other point of this video today is I wanted to show you what we've been working on internally. Now, I want to be clear about this. This is a proof of concept. This is a beta. This is not something that I can sell you. It is not something that we're currently planning to offer as a product or a service, but it's in fact something you could do yourself today. And we are doing it using Microsoft's own technology, and that is to host version 2 in the cloud. So how do we do that? So first of all, where are we hosting it? So we have an account with Microsoft Azure, and set up with them, we have a virtual machine that we have rented from them that is set up and that I'm going to be using for this demo that allows me to use version 2 in a cloud environment. Now, the question is, what does it take to do this? Well, first of all, this is a Windows Server OS. So we only support Windows Server OSs with a network installation of PHDwin. If this is the direction that your company is thinking about going, you have an IT person internally that is familiar with setting up a cloud environment with Microsoft Azure, then give me a call. We'll talk about what it takes if you don't currently have a network seats to convert to network seats so that you can do the same thing that I'm showing today. That's the first thing. Second thing is, what am I using? What resource I'm using here? So this is a standard B4MS virtual machine. So there's different levels that you can pay for. The way it works with the cloud is you're paying for use. So you pay so much flat every single month to rent the actual virtual machine, and then you pay more the more you use it. This particular virtual machine setup has 4 virtual cores and 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's probably not going to be an environment that I want to run version 3 in consistently, but as you'll see, this is going to be perfectly sufficient for the version 2.11.1 that is our currently supported version of version 2. So how do I actually use this cloud? How do I actually get into this environment? Well, a lot of y'all are used to remote desktop. It's a technology that you've been using for years. And basically what we're going to do is we start up the virtual machines. I already did that just for brevity in this video. So you hit the start button there, and that starts the virtual machine, starts my cloud, so to speak. And now that my cloud has been turned on, what I do is I go to a remote desktop file that I've downloaded from this interface. I double click on it. I say that I want to connect. It's going to ask for my password. So let me pause it real quick and put that in. And now I put in my password. Boom. Here I am in my cloud environment. And look, here's version 3. Here's a report open in version 3. So that's one big advantage of a cloud environment. You shut off your laptop, you close it down. Version 2 closes down. You can't keep it running. But in this cloud environment, I can just leave version 2 running. As long as I leave the virtual machine on, I can log in, I can log out, and it will remain the last place I left it. Again, you're going to be paying for that usage. It's not free. It's not cheap, actually, either. But that is a nice advantage of a cloud setup. So how does it work in the cloud? Let's take a look here real quick. So I'm going to go and close that report. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna drag some windows around, do a little bit of work that y'all are used to. So I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna create the case lists. I'm gonna come here, go to my favorite sort of value $M sort. That shows me which ones are losing money, which ones are making. Actually, I want to change the way that sort works. I'm gonna make it so that I get the bigger values at the top. And now I scroll up and I say, ooh, that one's making me some good money. I double click on it, and then I can come here, I can turn on the forecast ribbon, and then I can do the regular work that I would do in PHDwin. I can either move that around like so, or I can trash that forecast, and then I can use one of our other methods to determine a forecast. I'm just going to use the multi-point fit here to come up with a new forecast for this well, and then boom, there we go. That is in my cloud environment. And then if I wanted to, I can come here, reports and views, select and run. Now notice that by default, it's saving to PDF. So you're not gonna be able to, put it to your local printer, but you can save it off as a PDF. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do, let's say 95 cases here. I'm just gonna go ahead and run everything in this database. So I'm gonna go ahead and click run. I'm gonna say yes, go ahead and run it. And now it is running in a cloud environment. So wait a minute, John, this just looks like a regular machine. This just looks like a Windows desktop. If I come up here and there it is, it ran pretty quickly. If I minimize it, you look here, it just looks like a regular Windows desktop, right? What's going on that's so special here? Well, if you'll look on my screen for a second, what I can actually do is I can minimize this. I can bring up the version 2 that I have run locally, and look, I can overlap them if I want, right? So here is version 2 in the cloud. There's my reports. There's my graph of that case that made me the most money in the cloud. And then here it is locally. I can go back and forth between them. So this is the advantage of the cloud, to have it so it's not on your local machine. So if you're doing remote work, you're not in the office, you can log in and get access to it. Honestly, you don't need a cloud environment to do this. The remote desktop is something you could just do with your own server and your own premises if you do not want to rent it from Azure. Probably will be much cheaper actually just to do it in your office. There's been clients that have been doing that for years. But luckily, as I said, we're continuing to support version 2. We're continuing to support this product stack. And we also are looking at the same technologies for version 3. So I'm going to just go ahead and pull up real quick. So here's version 3 in my cloud environment. I'm going to go ahead and log in. Now, this particular cloud environment, as I said, it has 4 cores and 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is kind of close to the minimum requirements for version 3. If I was going to be working in it all day, I might want to crank up that a little bit. Again, it's all about what you pay for, right? You pay for more hardware on their end, you get more on our end. As far as we're concerned, as long as you have a network installation of PHDwin, you'll be able to do this. That's the only extra thing that we're going to charge for this kind of setup. But I can come in here, and in version 3, even with this low amount of resources, I can move the curve around. I can come in here. I'm bending a B factor. This server could be hundreds of miles away from me right now, and we're seeing pretty good performance here as far as operating version 3 in the cloud. So thank you very much for your time today. Please direct any questions to sales@phdwin.com. That's just the word sales@phdwin.com, and I'll be happy to answer them. But for now, have a great day.